What's up, guys? Quick video for you here. So I've talked about promotion boards a couple times now and figured we'd go into them. So it's usually done at the battalion level. There are brigade level boards, but it's usually like Soldier of the Month and competition type stuff. So the board is usually comprised of your command sergeant major and all of the first sergeants and the detachment sergeants within your battalion. They will each have a list of topics to ask you about. So first sergeant Snuffleupagus may ask you about rifle marksmanship, weapons stuff like what's the maximum effective range of the 240 Bravo, or first aid or land nav, like Staff Sergeant Shockley, explain to us what resection is, or anything like that. And you would say, First Sergeant, resection, you'd keep your hands down. I'm bad about talking with my hands. You're going to be seated at the position of attention. So rigid, upright, reasonably comfortable, feet flat on the floor, not moving around, not looking around extraneously, and hands on your thighs or parallel to the seam of your trousers as in the standing position of attention. And you're going to say, First Sergeant Snuffleupagus, resection is, insert what resection is here. I'm not going to waste your time because it requires background knowledge. Basically, it's using 2 points in the distance, plotting them, and where they intersect. Essentially, you form a triangle, and where the 2 points come together is your location. So you'd explain that, and then if you want extra points, you can say, as found in TC, whatever covers land navigation, I don't remember. And it kind of spit and polishes on your answer a little bit. So they'll ask you questions and so on, and at the end you'll be given a go or no go. So you'd walk in, your immediate leader is going to be there with you as your sponsor. They're going to give the sergeant major and the first sergeants a little brief about you, like, hey, Corporal Hicks Dwayne is, if you know, you know, is a squared away soldier. I know in the movie he was a Marine. Go with me here. It's just a name. He's a squared away soldier. He's done thus and such on his last weapons qualification. He's been pushing himself to get a perfect score in PT and has improved 50 points over the last year or whatever, right? He's been studying hard for this, and based on what I see, he would be an excellent leader based on X, Y, and Z, and because aliens don't wear hats on Thursday, blah, blah, blah. So after that, your leader will crack the door and stick their head out and be like, hey, wait 30 seconds, knock, and come in. So you're going to wait your 30 seconds, or what you would believe to be 30 seconds. It really depends on where you are. You kind of just feel out if they want you to actually time out like 1,000, 1,000, or look at your watch for 30 seconds and then go in. I've done it both. I've done it best guess, because I didn't always wear a watch under my Class A uniform, which is what you'll be wearing for this unless you're downrange and going to a battle board. In which case you'll be in your cleanest set of ACUs and get in, get out. We ask like fewer than 10 questions usually with a deployment style board if you're actually in combat. Anyway, I didn't always wear a watch with my Class A's, so in that case, just do your best guess, or 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, because if you don't wait long enough, you could piss them off. If you wait too long, you could piss them off. So usually around 20 to 25, I was starting to get ready to knock. You want to knock firmly and authoritatively, but not like bam, 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 like you're beating on a, timber door or something, trying to be heard. You want it to be affirmative and not not demanding, so similar to that. And then you'd walk in, you'll be standing, you'll walk in the most direct route, make sure the door doesn't slam. You're going to make all movements as in marching, so make sure you polish up on your drill and ceremony. You're going to walk in, and you'd be standing for it, but I'm going to sit down because I'm not reporting to the president of shit. You'll be standing, you'll be like, Sergeant Major, Staff Sergeant Shockley reports to the president of the board. He'll return the salute, after inspecting your salute, then you'll order arms, and he'll tell you left face, right face, march you around a little bit in front of the panel, and return you to center in front of the chair. Then he'll be like, Staff Sergeant Shockley, do you see the chair behind you? Yes, I do, Sergeant Major. It is okay to look. Over your shoulder only. Do not turn unless you absolutely have to. I've got some damage to my neck, so I have to turn a little bit to see behind me appropriately to find a chair. Do what you gotta do. Be prepared to explain it if needs be. So then they'll be like, while they're getting settled and filling out their paperwork, they're not going to look at you a lot unless you really start messing stuff up. If you get nervous, try and push through. You get points for overcoming it. Like every board I went to, my voice was super shaky because I was nervous, but I fought through. Got my promotable status first time go, both actual board appearances I went to. I had a couple that I went to as a specialist that I just bombed because I was kind of a dirtbag for one of them, and then one I just got kicked out of because I did so poorly. But hey, it's all practice. Those were company level boards. I think I went to one promotion board, and they just asked me to return later and study. I didn't get kicked out, but you just exit gracefully as best you can. So the next thing they'll ask is, Staff Sergeant Shockley, tell us about yourself. And you want to rehearse this, because if you don't sound sure talking about yourself, you're not going to sound sure about anything. So you're going to sit around and make even eye contact with everyone. You're going to be seated in the position of attention, so don't move too much. Even if they say, ask if you're comfortable, you're not hanging out, but you're comfortable. And you're not going to do that. Your hands are either going to be flat on your thighs or flat on the outside of your thighs. And you're going to look around and you're going to say, Sergeant Major, members of the board, my name is Staff Sergeant Nolan Shockley. I was born in blah, 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 blah. I attended this college briefly before enlisting in the United States Army. I've been stationed in blah, 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 where I served as a blah, blah, blah. I then PCS, permanent change of station, to Fort Carson, Colorado, to the 110th MP Company, blah, 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 where I served as a whatever. And then you move on to present. You want it to be about 3 to 5 minutes, but not any longer. Ask your immediate leadership to help you with it, or an NCO within your company you trust. Just know, if you don't ask your immediate leader and they don't refer you to someone who does board bios better, they're going to be pissy. So make a good decision. From then on, you're going to be asked questions. The Sergeant Major may ask you, Staff Sergeant Shockley, do you know the creed of the non-commissioned officer? You'll say yes. If only answer honestly. Do you know it? Yes. What is the creed of the non-commissioned officer? For any creed, as in basic training, you'll stand up, go to the position of attention, and you'll start off with the creed of the non-commissioned officer. No one is more professional than I, blah, blah, blah. Say it through. Try not to goof it up, because that's one of the biggest things they care about right there, is that you know that creed. They may ask you what it means to you. The big thing in a lot of my boards was they wanted to know the definition of leadership, and it's out of the regulation, and you must know it verbatim. The process of providing purpose, direction, and motivation, blah, 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 blah. So there's that. Trying to think what else. It's been a minute since I went to one of these. From what I've seen, some sergeants major may have additional assignments for you. The last one I did, I had to write an APA paper about whatever the prompt was. I did mine on decentralizing PT and making it not a platoon ordeal, but allowing the team to go do their own, or making every soldier responsible for their own PT program, because a PT test is an individually graded event. So I pretty evenly pissed off the board that was very old school about, oh, PT is done as a platoon or company, because that's what they were raised with and they couldn't accept anything else. And then I also impressed the free thinkers, like, oh, wow, someone else thought of that, and my sergeant major was like, at the end of it, he's like, I liked your paper, but you're a fucking idiot. So it is what it is, right? Everyone's prim and proper during it, like doing a job interview with a friend. You're prim and proper during the interview, but as soon as it's done and you meet up for beers later, it's like, man, you screwed that up or whatever, So studying for the board. Each board you go to, you're going to have different things expected of you as a specialist going to become a corporal or sergeant. The big things they want you to know is PT, how to lead it, what are the commands to put a platoon into PT formation. Sergeant major, the commands are, extend to the left, march, blah, 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 blah. Don't use what I'm saying as answers because it's been a minute since I've done those commands, so roll with it. Do your research. You'll have access to what's called an MOI, a memorandum of intent, and it'll detail all the subjects. Your typical board, they expect you to answer about 50% of the questions right. The better you do, the better you do. Points wise, don't do too well if boards aren't your thing or you don't like the concept. Don't do too well, or they may try and make you go to Soldier of the Month boards at wherever your battalion or brigade is. And if it's not your thing, it's not your thing, right? Do the best you can. But just know there's consequences to doing well and there's consequences to failing. If you blow one board, the next time you go back, it's going to have a bad taste in the members' mouths. So you're going to have to work that much harder to overcome things. So you study. I would recommend there's a good app out there called PRT. It gives you the book definition as well as pictures of how to do each thing for physical readiness training. And then there is the Soldier's Comprehensive Study Guide or Study Manual. I don't recall whom it's by, but it is an excellent publication. Boardmaster, Ace the Board, some of those other things, they're okay, but I always preferred to have an actual book, and I never had an issue using that resource. So you're going to get asked your questions, and then at the end, I don't remember if they ask if you have any questions of them or not, or anything else you'd like to say. I don't believe they do. They might. Who knows? Just roll with it. Have something. They may ask you about current events at some point in here and so on. And at the end, when they say, okay, you're dismissed, don't just book it out of there, right? Stand up, salute, warriors, or whatever your brigade motto is. Ours, I don't know if you can read it, was hold the gate. And the sergeant major would stand up and say the countersign. And once he's dropped his salute, you drop yours, step off as in marching, walk out of the room, breathe, try not to shit your pants. And then your leader will come out and have you come back in. And the members of the board will talk to you about, hey, you moved your head around too much. You moved your hands. You talked with your hands. You looked for answers in the sky. Or, hey, you did great, we'd like to see you come back for Soldier of the Month board or something, congratulations, you're promotable, or you didn't get it next time, polish up these things, study a little harder, next time you'll be good to go. And that's generally that. A lot of places will release you for the day after that. I would recommend you immediately go home, strip down your ASUs, your Class A's, take them to the cleaners, have them cleaned, pressed. I always paid to have mine professionally set up, just because once I got to the rank of sergeant, I had less and less time to fiddle fart around with my uniform. Yes, dog. You know who you are. That's not actually someone's name. You know who you are. I know you said I was a traitor because I had them professionally set up. You called me out on it in the board or something. It works, man. So do what you're going to do. Usually it was about $50 by the time you had them cleaned, pressed, and then reset. If you're in the Fort Carson area, I would go to Tops, Dress Blue, something. It's in the mini mall. I would recommend going there and having your stuff set up. They're pretty cheap. All in One off B Street can do it, but they do a less quality job than Tops. So yeah, other than that, start studying early. Study before you even get told you're going to a board. It's all tools for your toolbox, and you can knock the socks off your team leader and squad leader. Like, I was routinely knocking the socks off of them because I took it on myself to read TC 3- whatever covers machine guns. And I was spitting out all this crap and asking, like, hey, where's my FPL? What do you want, X, Y, and Z? Your final protective line. Because I carried a saw, and my squad leader was like, how the do you know about that? And anyway, so it's all tools for your toolbox. Start studying before you even need to go. It'll make it that much easier. You won't have to cram. I was always told 20 minutes on studying, 40 minutes off. It seemed to work. I got promoted first time go both times that I actually went to the board and stayed in the board. So do what you do. Questions, comments, leave them down below. I'll try and remember to link the study guides down below for you. Take care.